Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the REC podcast, brought to you by REC Comics and Collectibles. I'm your host, Roman Chavez, and with me, as always,
Erik and Roman.
And to my right, we've got the tuna of the big variety.
Yeah,
big tuna.
Big catch today.
Big catch today. Jordan Tunney with us. Thank you for joining us. Erik, how are you doing?
I'm good, man. How are you, dude?
Good. You can follow us on the gram at REC Podcast. You can follow myself at Roman REC Podcast. And you can follow REC Comics and Collectibles at REC Comics. Check us out, 7679 North Union Boulevard in Colorado Springs, Colorado. Big Tuna, how are you?
I'm all right.
Yeah, all right.
I never plugged my Instagram. I feel like really left out.
No.
So, Hot Europeans 45 is my account.
That's who it's been. That's who it's been the whole time.
Yeah, it's a lot of catfishing.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. But,
Exclusively catfishing. Okay.
Follow me on the Funny Tunny.
Yeah.
Funny Tunny.
There you go. I don't promote it because he says a lot of inappropriate things that I don't want associated with this podcast, with this classy podcast with Erik Icarus. All right, really class up the joint. You know that?
Class it up.
Yeah. Oh man. Well, we do have a new episode of What If that I'm dying to discuss because this one, just each one is just better than the last, and it's basically what if Killmonger saved Tony Stark. Very interesting idea. I love the premise and the through lines on these films. It would make total sense to have, and spoilers, kids, to have this where during Iron Man 1, when Tony Stark gets abducted by the Ten Rings, instead of that happening, Eric Killmonger, what's his, is it Jackson in the movie? I think it's like Eric Jackson, but then they call him the Killmonger.
Yeah.
And, man, how do you not know? God. Reagan Bush. He saves Tony in the desert. So they kind of form this bond, this friendship, and he's like, hey, you need to build drones, which I thought was a great kind of callback to Iron Man 3, where they're building these drones for the military because Tony's like, our military is vulnerable, they can be killed, so we're going to take that human equation out of there. It's a what if Tony Stark never became Iron Man. Erik, what did you think of the episode?
I was okay. Yeah, I don't know.
Good
I
feedback.
think the it's not as good as the zombies one.
No, but
for me, it's definitely a mid tier one for me. I did enjoy some of the the allusions to the shot by shot analysis of the movie to the cartoon, the animated series. They did it very well.
Yeah.
So I think that was the best part for me.
Okay.
The story was pretty good. I mean, obviously getting the Chadwick Boseman in there was tugging at the heartstrings.
Yeah.
That to me was honestly the best part of it.
Although it wouldn't shock me if they had to do that in post. This was the first time that because this is our third Chadwick Boseman appearance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This is the first time that it didn't feel as organic. I don't know if either of you picked up on that.
Kind of, a little bit.
Like it felt a little bit paused, and if it's not him, it's somebody doing the voice, or it's where they take the existing audio.
They chefed him.
Yeah, they chefed him. Yeah, Darth chefed him. Jordan, I'm dying to know what you think of the episode because this is one of those things where I know that you don't like certain things forced into stories. How did you feel this fit in the Marvel universe?
Yeah, so I would describe it as an interesting but not as entertaining episode.
There you go.
So I think some of the episodes have been both interesting and entertaining. I feel like this one was like, but like it was. I mean, it was an interesting thought, and I did like the idea of like, so if Tony went through this experience that didn't lead to him being Iron Man, like that intervention takes place, how does that change? Felt a lot of vibes with Ultron, kind of that whole idea of like protect the world sort of thing.
Yes.
So, when you couple essentially, his Iron Legion as drones, if you will, from Iron Man 3, with this idea of like blanketing the world in safety and security from Age of Ultron, it makes sense that if he's not, and I think that his experience in the cave and everything that happened in Iron Man 1 really led to him feeling like he needed to take a personal hand. He needed to be the one in the suit as opposed to him, having the solution. And so those story ideas are really what I like about this stuff because even though they may not payoff down the road. It's like, it's not like each of these what ifs is launching a whole new universe of all new stories. But like I think it kind of solves some of that question of like, yeah, are we simply a product of the events that happen to us, or are certain things kind of bound to happen? Like, was he just kind of one bad day away from having this thought? So
it's such a great question in comics, and I think Marvel was so ahead of its time in 77, 78 when they launched the comic book series, because these are conversations we have as adults when we watch the MCU films. What if this happened? What if that happened? What this changes, I mean, ultimately, and this is what's so fun and brilliant about this series, is that we have the casual viewer knowing all of these events. They don't have to have read the comics at all, and they can say, oh my gosh, if Tony doesn't become Iron Man, Thanos wins, right? I mean, most likely Thanos wins, because in those 14 million possibilities, they only win one. The only one that they win is the one where Tony. Now, does Steve Rogers then have to step up? Does time correct itself there? I don't know. But we know that in this world, Tony Stark is not Iron Man, and he's not going to be there to snap everybody, snap the bad guys away.
Yeah, and that's an interesting thought. I think too, like when I try to think through like that process of like, okay, so Stephen Strange's perception into these these possibilities, seems like the possibilities he was exploring were in the constructed universe that had happened, that Tony was Iron Man, that Steve was Captain America, that all these other things. And so I wonder how much of him exploring certain possibilities like bleeds into like multiverse stuff, I guess.
Yeah.
And it'll be interesting to see how they handle multiverse stuff, considering that seems to be the direction that the upcoming MCU stuff is heading into with the Doctor Strange stuff, Spider-Man. Like they're already kind of laying the groundwork for this to be the operating rules that and in comics, a multiverse is kind of the ultimate what if.
Right.
You can't really have a what if story without some multiverse, something that has changed the events that have happened. And so I'm hoping on the one hand that and they've already announced they're going to be doing another season of the What If animated features, which is awesome because there's more things they can do. And I don't want it to be like what if Killmonger saved Pepper Potts, or like definitely, but they can explore a lot of existing stuff out there. This could be the ways that they introduce things that may not translate well in film story, whether it's Beta Ray Bill, for Thor, or certain characters that they're like, this just doesn't really fit the stories we want to tell in the movies, but we want to recognize the existence of these characters that have been around a long time. And so, however they're going to do it, I think that Marvel is explaining to the casual viewer how a what if, how a multiverse kind of idea exists, kind of to give us the rules. Because going back and watching the Avengers movies, I needed to be told what the rules were with the stones.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, okay, so there's the Tesseract, and it's like, it's this, but Thanos, every time he gets one of the stones in Infinity War, uses it. So we see what it does. And a lot of people skipped over the second Thor movie, and so this idea of reality and the ether, like what this does, we quickly see that scene with Gamora and Thanos and Star-Lord in the Collector's Collection. And so we got to see how those were explained. And so that was their way, I think, of explaining to the casual viewer, here's what these stones do, and put together, here's what they threaten to do. The multiverse seems like it's the next Infinity Stone saga. Like everything moving forward is going to have some direct or indirect connection to it. And so I think maybe these animated features can be interesting and entertaining and serve a third purpose, which is laying the groundwork so we kind of know not what to expect, but we know how some things are going to play out.
Yeah.
We know that in this world it could be that Gwen Stacy is the one bitten by the spider, not Peter Parker. Just like how it was that Peggy got the serum instead of Captain America, and the idea that those ripples create, new threads, things that never happened that would have otherwise, and vice versa.
You just blew my mind with the idea that there could be 14 million whatever possibilities that just involved that version, because then that's not even giving credence to the rest of the multiverse. I disagree, but that's an interesting idea, because I gotta imagine those 14 million different blah blah blah. That's gotta be one of them. Like, it would be awesome because there is that rumor that the evil Doctor Strange from What If episode 5 may make an appearance in Multiverse of Madness. And how sick would that be for the people who didn't? Because there's a ton of people who do not want to watch anything animated. No. I mean, we have friends who like the comic book movies, who like comic books, don't dig animated stuff.
Right.
So it would be very interesting if that were a true rumor. It's just a rumor. It's a social media rumor. But so was Alfred Molina in Spider-Man Far From Home. No Way Home. No Way Home?
No Way Home.
No Way Home. Yeah. I don't like this now. Now that I have 3 different movies that are so close that I can screw up, I don't like that.
I like Home Alone. I think Home Run. I think there were some other clever ways to get it work.
Spider-Man No Homo.
Oh, man.
But, I mean, my thought behind Strange seeing all those 14 million possibilities was, okay, where are our characters right now? Well, they were on Titan. Yeah. Right? Yeah. You've got Iron Man on Titan, you've got Spider-Man on Titan, you got the Guardians.
So you're thinking more exponentially.
Yeah, and so okay. I'm thinking what he had to explore was, from this point, what are the possibilities, not going, because he can't affect things in the past. Right. It's just moving forward. It's almost like if you knew your team was going to be playing a great football team.
Yeah.
So not the Browns. And you were just okay. I'm gonna foresee every choice we make, every pass that's thrown, who catches it, how far does that get us, and any of these iterations, do they result in a win? And so you're not changing their team, you're not changing your team, you're just setting the groundwork, saying we're gonna face them. Sure. Now we can see who gets injured if I do this, who's gonna make the big play here, do we make the 60-yard field goal? And so that was always my thought that's what Strange was doing.
Okay, yeah. I mean, that is explained really well. That breaks my mind about the infinite possibilities of that universe. I liked how just driven Killmonger was in the story, that because we know where this guy came from, because we know how this goes, seeing his path there while attaching himself to Tony Stark was, I don't know, it was genius. And it gave me a little bit more clarity on the purple drink, on the flour mixture, because we get to see Killmonger go to the spirit world again and speak to the other kings. And for me, I wasn't completely sold on the fact that they're actually going back and talking to their loved ones. But this kind of really confirmed it. I know that a lot of people thought that, but it was just like, are they just hallucinating? No, they are really seeing their loved ones and speaking to them on that plane. That I was on the fence. I know I'm in the minority, but that showed me, given the conversations
I think it's alluding to how when the Aztecs would take some of the, ayahuasca, they would talk to jaguars and their ancestors as jaguars. Yeah. So I think in that, that herb is a hallucinogen. It's like alluding to the jaguar and Aztec thing.
Yeah, and I think I would have liked to have seen a comment of is this really you, sort of thing. And it's like, well, if you take my advice, does it really matter? Like some kind of clever coy.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like something, because it's always, stories can have a fun way when they don't give you all the answers. When there's just a little bit of that wiggle room between what you're hoping, what you're expecting, and what they're giving. But yeah, that was pretty neat to see, though. For sure.
Yeah, and it fleshed out that character even more. And I've been the guy who did not like Killmonger for the longest time, and I've been kind of growing on it since I've been rewatching Black Panther so much here in the shop. Sorry, sometimes I just have it on the backwards. I'm working, babe. Okay, I am working. And this was a really cool representation of the character. I like just seeing more of his cunning. It was great to get Claw back as well. Yeah. All in all, just another solid product.
Yeah.
do you like Captain Carter or this better? If you had to,
this one.
You okay?
I did like this one.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay.
Captain Carter, I think, is definitely the.
It's my
a good
least
opener.
favorite, but it's a great opener.
It's a great opener.
I don't know how many more we have left. I heard somewhere.
I heard we're about
8.
halfway through.
I think we got
Oh,
Party
wow.
Thor.
I think we're like, or
is the
I think
next
we're going
one.
to be close to like 12.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
wow.
I heard that it's going to culminate in a team up.
Yes,
they're going to
yes,
be
I
taking
heard
one
some,
from
like,
every
like
episode.
Peggy
Yeah.
from her universe.
Yes.
Like
Dark Strange.
Dark Strange, maybe
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
But
Dark Strange.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, Dark Strange.
Hey,
Look out for the Dark Strange, kids.
Yeah.
it's the only kind.
Yeah.
But I think that's a cool way to do a season finale.
Yeah.
Just like what is the common threat between
Yes.
all of them? Maybe
Yes.
they go up against a Watu like. We don't like you watching us, man.
I was gonna say, yeah.
The voyeur. There's a trend going on in comic books lately, guys. It's coming and going, and it's been here before. It's the same old song and dance. But Todd McFarlane is leading this new kind of reemergence of the ratio variant. A lot of people might not know, especially those who listen to this show, you might not know that there are ways to get really cool variant covers to a comic book. You might have a number 1 come out and it might have 6 or 7 covers. It's all the same story, just a different cover artist doing different covers. And within that, you can unlock variants that if you order 25 of these, you get 1 of 25. If you order 50, you get 1 for every 50 you order, and so on. Todd McFarlane just set a new modern sales record of over almost 500,000 units moved, pre-ordered for King Spawn #1. And the gimmick behind that was there were 1 in 25s, I believe there were 1 in 50s, and then there was a 1 in 250 variant that was a version of the cover that he did for one of the main covers. But it was going to have like a different background, and then he was going to individually number each one and sign it, and then never sign that book again. It's an interesting gimmick. It really pushed the sales floor. Todd has the number 3 most selling book of all time with his Spider-Man #1 selling over 3 million copies. The number 2 book is X-Force #1 selling over 5 million copies. And the big dog, which we also have to talk about at some point on the show, is Jim Lee's X-Men #1 selling over 8 million copies. So in this digital age, it's been a long time since we haven't sold a million book, I don't think, since the 90s. Close, but no, I think... God, what was it? Keanu Reeves' Berserk had some crazy amount of pre-sold because they had so many variants as well. Yeah. So I'm getting in on this bandwagon, guys. They're doing a Gunslinger Spawn #1. There's going to be a 1 in 250 variant. We are going to be doing in-store at RAC Comics and Collectibles in Colorado Springs. We're going to be doing bundles where you can get all 7 main covers for the price of 6, in-store only, and we have a limited amount on our Instagram. In-store, they're going to be $34.99 for the bundle. On Instagram, they're going to be $45 shipped. With that, I mean, it's a great deal. So if you're thinking about getting any of these books, or at least a full set, I don't know that there's a better deal around, because when you order from me, in-store or online, you're going to get a 1 in 10 chance to get the 1 in 50 Greg Capullo sketch variant. It's a really cool thing. We've got details on our Instagram at RAC Comics. My question in that long, drawn-out ad for my store is, what do you guys think of that type of gimmick? Okay, it's inflating these numbers. It's gonna, from a collecting standpoint, there's gonna be at least 500,000 of these books out there. It's gonna kill that value, but is that real? Is that when we're old, when our kids are older, will King Spawn #1, will Gunslinger Spawn #1 be that hot book just because due to age? You know, we're equal amounts of those variants put out. So will there, of those 7 main, will one of those be the standout because not a lot of people ordered it? Is it something that makes you, Eric as the casual fan,
Sure.
you Big Tuna as a guy who follows the genre but doesn't partake as much, does that get you excited to like, oh, a new #1, I want to get it, and this is a cool bundle? what do you think as somebody who doesn't know, as somebody who's in the know?
Yeah, as a comic book consumer, I just want to be on the record that I never inhaled.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so that casual.
Every time.
Yeah, I'm about as casual as a button down. So, like, when you first told me about this the other day, I had a hard time understanding some of the numbers. And here's why. I walk into a comic book store, into a great comic book store, or into anyone else's comic book store. I walk into a comic book store and there's comics on the shelf. And I think to myself, okay, how many copies did this person order?
Yeah.
So if we're talking about let's say this 1 in 50,
yes.
right? Okay, so looking at things that through the lens of economics, which I try to do, and I'm no economics expert, but I know that when the supply of something is low and the demand is high, price always follows demand.
Yeah.
And sometimes there is a low supply of something that also has a low demand.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So when it comes to thinking about, is this going to be a big hit? Mm-hmm. I think the success of the comic and the series is somewhat removed a little bit from the gimmick that Todd McFarlane's giving, because if it's a good book, people are going to want it and they're going to buy it.
Yes.
That being said, if I'm somebody that has faith in this story that they're doing, in Todd's kind of I'm going to sign it, never sign again sort of thing, that's greatly limiting the supply. And the weird thing is, from an economic standpoint, we almost never have exact numbers on things.
Yeah.
Right. So when I go to Craigslist to buy a PS5 off somebody, I really don't know. I might know PS5s are hard to come by, but I don't necessarily know, is Walmart or Target going to get more of them, right? It's that unknown that often drives people to make economic choices, because they say, listen, I may never have another shot at this. Is this going to be somebody I trust? Is this going to be the right choice to make? I have to roll the dice and see. But when you go out there, and whenever any business or company says, we're making X number, and that's it.
Yeah.
Well, that's only as good as their promise being followed through.
Yeah.
If Todd McFarlane in 5 years is like, screw it, I'll sign anything with my name on it. Well, we know what that'll do to the value of those comics, right? But at the same time, I also think that when you have this much information, if you are a connoisseur, if you are somebody that was already interested in this story, it seems to me like this is, everything in life is a risk. This seems like it's a good risk. Yeah. Because the payoff, the exponential value of these rare variants that you might get your hands on, that seems worth it. So someone like me who probably has not bought an actual like a literal individual issue comic in probably 10 years. Yeah. Or close to it. Like, I'd be like, man, a 1 in 10 shot at a 1 in 50? At a 1 in 50. I'm like, that's pretty cool. Yeah. And who knows? And maybe I don't get the 1 in 50, but I've got, this awesome set that turns out to be a great story, and the value is, the value of the comics is the popularity of the story. Yeah. Does it continue? Does it launch new characters? Well, and
I'm glad you said that, and I want to come back to that idea of launching new characters. But Eric, as somebody who's you lived in the 90s, right, the go-go 90s, bro, 90s, baby, of the comic book gimmick. Are you excited to see this a gimmicky trend start back up again, or do you think that are we starting to smell that dip that happened in the 90s?
I think it's alluding to that. Okay. I think we might be going a little bit that way. I think talking about this Spawn thing, and the only thing we could do to maintain the values, we got to kill Todd McFarlane.
Oh my gosh.
If you want those books to go up.
If you want, dude. Okay,
well, you got to kill your favorite writer and your favorite artist.
Oh my gosh.
Don't do that. Just joking.
Yeah, we don't advocate any type of assassination.
Right.
Is that Catcher in the Rye? That's a Beatles joke for somebody.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm starting to get whiffs of Death of Superman here.
A little bit. A little bit.
Granted, they are doing the signed variants and stuff, which is very cool. But like to Jordan's point, Todd at any time can go, you know what, I will sign that. Yeah. And then it will drop all those books exponentially. Because those are the only books that are going to be worth anything out of that lot.
Yes.
That first print, aside from those variants, are, they're collection fillers. Yeah. You know what I mean? Which are great. Probably a good story in there. Yeah. But, you got to buy a lot of these and sell a lot of these, and there's going to be a lot there, just a big wave on the market, except for those variants.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like the do or, damned if you do, damned if you don't kind of thing here.
Yes.
Which, again, going back to the 90s, was what was happening. They were bringing in the gimmicks as far as cheap gimmicks, Shiny 90s, doing the holograms, which had they only done 1 in 10, those might be actually worth some money.
Yeah.
So I feel like they're doing it a little right here.
I do, making the gimmick the thing that is rare because,
Right.
like as we've talked about on the show, 90 Shiny, you couldn't look in a comic store without your sunglasses on because everything was shining, everything or die cut, or holes cut in your comics to look like other things.
Yes.
I agree with you that this is a fun gimmick as long as he sticks to it. And it'd be different if it was one of the lesser Image founders.
Sure.
And not to give anybody less credit, but let's be real. Todd's the king of the Image founders. Then Jim. Then
we got
maybe
Erik
Rob.
Larson, kind of.
Well, yeah, Erik and Jimmy Palomati. They're just lower. It's just what it is.
Yeah, we're not taking anything away from them.
No,
It's just
no.
not a lot of people know Erik
Todd,
and Jimmy.
But Todd is more about toys anymore. Like
true.
Todd's Hall of Fame photo, I don't think belongs in the comic book Hall of Fame. It involves it belongs in the toy Hall of Fame.
He did. I would say he did do a lot of awesome things with toys as far as making them more adult.
Yeah.
So that is kudos to him. But his contribution to comic books are amazing.
It is, but Todd hasn't drawn interiors for 20 plus years.
Why this might be a big deal.
Yes, well, but he's been doing covers forever. He still
That
does
is a good
covers.
point. That's
he does
a good point.
covers, but
He hasn't done interiors, 30 years?
I mean, close to it.
Yeah.
His contributions to
That
comics
should have been the gimmick.
were so dude. If he did a book where he did the entire interior and he's only doing one,
boom, flying off the shelves.
I'll order 1,000 comics to get it.
I would get one too, or a few of those. So that's awesome.
It'd be wild. I'm glad to get your guys' feedback on this because and yes, this is quasi promotion, but I'm offering a really good deal for your chance to get these types of things, and I'm trying to create another gimmick inside the gimmick, the Inception gimmick, kids. Wow. I think it's fun, and fortunately, Todd, with his characters, does get good artists to come in. He's not just bringing in any schmoes. No. He's bringing in good people. He had J. Scott Campbell do a bunch of covers, Brett Booth, Dave Finch. You have guys who are just, for your money, the best Spawn artists out there. You had said something about a Spawn, different characters in Spawn. This Gunslinger Spawn is a different version of Spawn, and it's funny to me that Todd and Image are now getting into this idea of having their expanded universe. It's taken how many years? They had done crossovers in the past with the Image books, but it's very much like they were all their own world.
Right.
Even though the Image characters are technically in the same world, it's not as woven in as a DC universe or as a Marvel universe.
It was kind of a big deal when these characters cross paths.
Yes. So we had another big Spawn book earlier in the year, Spawn Universe. We've had King Spawn, and now we've got Gunslinger Spawn, which was a fan favorite character from he had a couple showings in the normal Spawn universe, just a different character, different time period. So
is this going to be Al?
So this Gunslinger Spawn #1 is coming out in October, but it's going to be more of that fan favorite.
Okay.
I just think it's really funny that we finally have Todd kind of jumping on this multiverse for his characters. Dude, if he starts doing all of these different Universal Spawns, it makes so much sense. And you can make tons of toys.
Oh, yeah.
You can make
that's
tons of toys.
I think that's how we see it.
What is a Spawn that you would like to see? My personal one would be a Confederate States of America Spawn Davis, the president of the Confederacy. You got him going up against Abe Lincoln.
Yeah.
Okay.
Interesting.
I like it.
Down for that.
Like him teaming up with Stonewall. I can dig it.
Yeah.
I can dig it.
Interesting.
He would be the Stonewall.
Semper Tyrannis.
I think showing the suit through time there are different versions of the suit through time would be a brilliant idea and something that we're not. That way you could kind of sidestep multiverse and you could do it as a time thing instead. Right. And you can have the different spawns of different timelines.
You know what Spawn I'd like to see real quick? Who does Azrael work for? Where do you know from Batman?
Oh, the Order of
Oh,
Saint Dumas.
Yeah.
Whoa.
That's a spoiler.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
up
Yeah.
Don't
I
Hammer
dug
don't hurt
deep
him
for that one.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
did.
that was
Oh
awesome.
my god!
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
Yeah,
No
I would
sleep.
kill for that spawn.
Yeah.
That was good though. That was
Yeah.
good.
Oh my
Sorry.
gosh.
I thought it was Knights of Templar, but is that the same thing?
Yes, because the Saint Dumas is a kind of an offshoot of it.
Okay,
So you'd
okay.
like to see a Templar
Yes,
spawn. That's what you want. Okay.
Yeah.
I
So I
would
always
love to
thought
see that
Azrael
too.
kind of looked a little spawny.
Yeah. It would
So-
be really cool if like you had the like the Catholic Church like
Right.
killing the guy who had the spawn outfit.
Yes.
And then kind of like purifying it to like
Yes.
purifying
Meet
it to
their
go there.
needs.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
that
it's a
would
hell
be
hunter.
wild.
Hell hunter spawn.
Woo!
See like that?
Todd, hit us up, man. We got tons of ideas. Eric and I will get inebriated. We'll figure them out. Jordan will suss it out and make it a story that makes sense.
I'll
okay?
be the designated pitch driver.
There we go.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
And on that note, kids, that is our show. If you like what we're doing, please hit that subscribe button. Hit the alarm so that you know when we have new shows coming out. We're going to be on a new shooting schedule. Papa Eric and I have had a lot of changes in our lives where we're not going to have them out by Fridays. It's probably going to be more during the week. But
It gives you a nice little thing to watch during the week.
exactly, when you're in your traffic jams, you're going to have your RAC podcast in your ear. Eric,
Yes, sir.
do you have any final thoughts for us today?
No, I wish I'd have saved Kill Todd McFarlane for this.
Oh, man.
So yeah, let's bring it up again. Kill Todd McFarlane.
Whoa.
Hashtag.
Yeah, and we do not endorse this. The
I'm
RAC
kidding,
podcast
I'm
does
kidding.
not. We
Just
love Todd
joking.
McFarlane, the Todd Father, as he's known.
Yeah, Todd Father.
Big Tuna, would you like to give us a final thought today?
Yeah, you had mentioned like this Inception sort of thing. So if we were in Inception, what would your totem be? What would be that little thing that you'd have that you'd keep on you that you'd know whether you're in a dream or not?
Well, Eric's would be an old spoon, and then
Like a bent spoon
yeah,
with
like
a
a bent
lighter under
spoon.
it?
Yeah,
Like-
Like, oh, I'm here.
Yeah. Oh, Bessie. I don't know. What would yours be?
Guitar pick, maybe?
Oh,
Yes.
smart.
Yeah.
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 Specific diameter.
Yeah.
Something worn to your specific.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm into that.
Dreidel.
Dreidel.
Might as well go the Leo
Yeah.
route, you know?
Yeah.
Made it out of clay.
Yeah. Mine would be this beautiful HasLab exclusive Sentinel in store at REC Comics and Collectibles.
Yeah.
Come check us out.
Yeah, his totem wouldn't be shame because he has none.
Yeah, that is right,
Or
kids.
cringe.
Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for listening. I've been your host, Roman Chavez.
I'm so Eric Icarus.
Big Tuna.
That's me.
R.I.P. Norm McDonald.
R.I.P. Norm McDonald, kids. Yeah, he had to pay the piper.
He's doing the dirty work in the sky.
Yeah, pour one out for Norm, kids. We will catch you on the next podcast.